Alright, so we're going to assemble this XY gantry for the D-Bot 3D printer. I'm going to look at the Hotend carriage and some tips for leveling the Z axis. So the first tip that I have for you guys is to actually glue those nuts into this Hotend carriage. It'll save you a lot of pain and suffering. I ended up using my girlfriend's eyelash glue because I couldn't find the glue I'd normally use for this, so use what you got, I guess. But definitely glue those in there. It'll save you a lot of pain. I'm not going to go into great detail about assembling the Hotend because I really think that what you should do is follow E3d's guide closely. Read the instructions. Read them twice. Make sure you do absolutely every step in the E3d V6 assembly instruction. So I follow the guide and I check the resistance on the heater cartridge just to make sure that they sent the right heater cartridge. It's 12 volts, not 24. Don't want to burn the house down. So I'll quickly check that and get the thermistor in there. Once I know that it's the right heater cartridge, get it in there, secure it in with the grub screw and the two little fasteners there for the heater cartridge. If you have the E3d V6 and not the Volcano, it'll look a bit different. That's okay. After you've got that Hotend assembled, we'll assemble the Hotend carriage. It's really straightforward, especially if you glued those nuts into the back like I recommended. They won't be falling out on you anywhere. You'll sandwich the front and back pieces together with some mini V-wheels. Get that part fan on there, get your end stop on there, and put your HBar ends on after you've rolled your your Hotend assembly onto there. So this is what it looks like when it's put together for the most part. Do some cable management, strain relief, make sure your cables aren't going to get pulled or they're not in the way of anything. If you've just stuck with the stock D-Bot build like I recommend, this is going to look a bit different than yours, but the ideas are all the same. You just get it together like this, roll it onto that piece of V-slot, and get your end caps on like I mentioned. If you're watching and you have any questions about this step, just feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to answer any questions you guys have about this. It should be fairly straightforward though if you've completed the frame assembly. So you'll get your threaded rods attached to your stepper motors with these spring couplers. Make sure that the threaded rod touches the top of the stepper motor shaft before you slide it in. Get it in there, slide it through. Make sure that you've got smooth motion up and down. You can adjust the motor mounts here to make sure that you have nice smooth motion. You'll have to make some adjustments again once you get the heated bed on there, I'm sure, but it's good to get a nice smooth motion here before you do any of that. It's just a little bit easier, so adjust them as you need so that they're straight up and down and you can smoothly roll this up and down. You might have to adjust the tension on the left and right rear wheels there just to make sure that that tension's even as well. So if the tension's even and you've adjusted the motor mount so that the lead screws are parallel, you should be good to go. After we've got that Z-axis moving nice and smooth, we'll put this HBar carriage on the top of the printer and make sure that it's parallel with the rest of the frame. You do that by leaving the bottom wheel off, just dropping it on, making sure that these V-slot wheels are perfectly aligned in the V-slot, and you can do that by loosening up those HBar ends and adjusting how far they are on that middle piece of V-slot there. That way you can get those V-slot wheels, just like the Z-axis, perfectly aligned in those V-slot grooves to get that really smooth motion. Here you can see they're right nicely aligned in there. Once you've got those wheels nicely aligned and your HBar ends are on the perfect position for your printer, you can put that bottom wheel on. So again, this is a 3-wheel guide. It's a bit different than the 4 wheels that are in the stock D-Bot. We're just going to try it out with this printer. Tension them on equally on both sides. It shouldn't be too tight, shouldn't be too loose. You can test to see if it's too loose, if it moves up and down when you grab on it or twist on it. And if it's too tight or if it's unequally tensioned, you'll feel like it kind of bind a bit when you're moving it back and forth. It should be smooth, but it shouldn't wobble around when you pull it up and down or that kind of thing. So you'll get it. Adjust and you'll push that bottom wheel up into the bottom so you have equal tension on both sides and you'll be good to go. You'll get some nice smooth motion there. So I just went with the standard 4-wheel extruder carriage here, Hotend carriage. The tensioning works a bit differently. There's space for those bottom bolts to move up and down, and so once you have it on, you'll want to just kind of push them up into the bottom of that V-slot there and tighten them on. You'll be good to go. You get smooth motion there as well, and after that we should have a nice motion for the top of this printer. So that's it for the HBar and extruder assembly. If you found this video helpful, like it, subscribe, turn on notifications, leave me a comment. Hope to see you guys all next time. We'll be looking at the CoreXY kinematic belt routing and the some wiring tips. So yeah, we'll see you soon. Thanks guys. Bye.